sitting and saying that we're gonna do a podcast. We're actually doing it. This is episode 2 of the Quirky Girl podcast. I'm with Vic, my love, my only. Say hello.
You always flirt with me.
I'm sorry. I just love you. And then we're with Ethan, who also goes by the name of but Ethan, say it.
Suresh.
Suresh. I don't know what that means or where that comes from, but today we're gonna be talking about relationship RP and like the whole entire dynamic and what it means to be in a relationship and setting boundaries and all that fun stuff, right, guys?
Yep.
Right.
Right. Okay. You guys sound so enthusiastic.
Well, I'm ready for this.
Alrighty.
Dude,
okay.
it's like it's so early here.
It's
so early here.
My bad.
I don't usually wake up this early.
So let's kick off the fucking topics and go with what is relationship RP to you guys? I guess we'll start with Vic. What do you consider relationship RP?
Oh God. Relationship RP is pretty. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. It's RP that has a relationship involved in it in some way, shape, or form. Not that has to be the sole purpose of your RP, but it definitely is a good chunk of it. I think that it's a good thing to have. I don't think that it's a bad thing, but it doesn't have to be a thing that everybody has to get into if they don't want to.
And that's fair. You know what? One thing that I did notice about a lot of relationship RP, just my dogs are barking, but a lot of relationship RP that I've noticed in like the months that I've been playing, especially on GTA, is a lot of the couples tend to they kind of live an RP for each other. You know what I mean? In the sense where it's like their whole entire like RP is based off being in that said relationship. And that's not wrong. It's just like personally for me, like I wouldn't want to live like strictly for somebody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
In the sense that like even if you were in an IRL relationship, like you wouldn't want to be with someone whose like only goal and like ambition was to like give you all attention and not like have any like motivation to do anything else. You know what I mean? Like it kind of like you want them to give time and effort into you, but you also want them to have like their own like ambitions and goals. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
So we all have been in like a relationship via RP, and like I think we hit the nail on all of them because like Vic, you give the perfect like girl to boy kind of view on it, you know what I mean? And then Ethan gives it like the boy to girl kind of view on it, and then I kind of give it like the boy who plays a girl but like is a girl, you like the weird kind of mixture. I feel like we hit the nail on like every little kind of viewpoint on like where we could be looking at the relationship from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are some of the stigmas around a relationship RP that like you noticed and stuff like that, and like that kind of bugs you and that like you kind of like that aren't true but like people think it's true?
That I am without a doubt instantly dating and have like super strong feelings for the person that I'm RPing with in a relationship.
Right, and this is like OC feelings and stuff, right? Like you just
Yeah. Like, there's pretty much like I've had to deal with, so like I know we'll get into this a little bit later, but like on top of me being in an IRL relationship, I have the in character relationship, and it was really hard for Renegade to like handle that at first.
mm-hmm.
Because he was instantly going with the stigma of, oh my God, like you have feelings for him. That's, oh my God, blah, he just freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's one thing I've had to deal with, but I've also had other people kind of come out of the woodwork and are like, oh my God, and I'm like, no, I don't have feelings for.
Right. And and that is a stigma, but it is something that can happen. I've seen it.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, look, like Vic and Renegade, you guys met through RP and stuff like that, and you guys are currently in a relationship, right?
Hmm.
And like, that's not to say that like all stigmas are like negative, because just like if you were to go out and like to a bar and stuff like meet and that and like stuff like that and meet someone and like develop like a relationship with them, it's just like you can do that through RP and stuff like that. And I think like as long as you respect each other's boundaries, and that's like a cool thing. One stigma that I personally hate and that I dislike is the fact that if you're in an RP relationship that you guys automatically erotic roleplay. And it's like first off, if you guys don't know what erotic roleplay is, it's pretty much just like sex roleplay where you guys just like kind of like do slash me's if you're like in GTA of like the actions that you would do like sexually towards your partner and stuff like that. And the thing with me, it's like that's like something really 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 like personal, especially like in game or like in character. Like you wouldn't just go around talking about your sex life IRL unless you're me, because I'm like a crazy bitch. But like it's something personal that like everyone just assumes that you're automatically doing, but like it's
Might
not
not be.
yeah,
It does.
it's not
Yeah.
necessarily true. Like some people might not feel comfortable with the whole entire ERP relationship part of it.
Or people might have IRL relationships that, and their partner might not be comfortable with it, so they
Exactly.
don't want to do it, and that's where the talk of boundaries comes.
And it's just like you can, you can say that your relationship that your like two characters had sex or whatever, but you don't have to go into the whole entire RP thing. You could just be like goes to the bedroom or whatever, and then end your night there, and just like it could be all like assumed or like played out. You don't actually have to play it out. And I feel
Right,
like
you don't
that's
have to act it out.
mhm,
It can just happen while
yeah,
you're not online.
yeah.
Or your characters are at home by themselves asleep, and neither of you are on.
And then you could just kind of like play it off through that and stuff like that. But I think that's like,
That's how
sorry, Vic,
that's
go
how
ahead.
David and I do it. No, you're fine.
Yeah,
Everything is implied. And everything was implied with me and Renegade when we first started the whole Jack and Victoria thing too. I
yeah.
get it.
And it's like it's not to
It
say
can
that
also be a
people
comfort thing.
it's not to say that like people like you shouldn't ERP, like I know some people in the server who fucking love that type of role play and like have a lot of fun with it, and like you can explore yourself and like your sexuality through it, and that's okay. And it's like people just have this like negative stigma around like ERP and stuff like that, and how if you do it it's kind of like taboo or gross. And if you're gonna do ERP, all I'm gonna say is here's a tip: take it to Discord. Just take it to
Yeah,
Discord. Please take it to Discord, because you can, I don't know if you guys noticed in my stream or whatever, but when I'm first loading into the city, and I'm sure this happens with a lot of you guys, is you can hear everyone when you're transferring to the team speak. So like if someone is joining the server and stuff like that, and you're having like an ERP moment and you're like moaning and you're like, oh my god, like ooh woo, like my pussy, like people can hear that. and
people.
it
Yes,
and it's hard because like people are streaming, and some people stream when they get right onto the server, so then that's like recorded evidence of your voice and you just doing that, and your slash me's can be traced back to you. So
yeah.
if you're gonna do that, keep it in your DMs, or you know, uh, do it
If
on
you don't want to
Discord.
do it or you're not comfortable with it,
Don't do
then
it.
just
Just
time
imply it.
skip or
Right.
yeah, make it or fade to black, which is normally what I would do.
Hmm. I don't think I've ever had like Lola like officially sleep with Brad while in the server. I usually like just black like end my stream, and then like I'll just like say it, or like I'll make up like a stupid story when I'm hanging out with like the girls and shit. And I'll be like, oh my god, like me and Brad, like we totally like hooked up in like the back of the VU, and like we never really did do it. You know what I mean? And like that's fine, because like you don't have it's not fail RP if you imply that something happened or whatever, as long as your partner's okay with it. Ethan, one thing that you used to do a lot, which like I fucking find funny and stuff like that, is when you were dating someone, you used to describe the sex
Yeah.
that you guys used to have all the time, and it used to be the craziest thing in the freaking world. And like, I know it's not true, but like, it's
Yeah,
just funny.
it's all just on. It's
Yeah,
literally on the spot.
it's funny, and it's fun because like I know, because like I know Ethan and stuff like that, that they like the stuff that he says like doesn't actually happen, but it happens in like his character and shit like that. 'Cause Ethan likes to think he's like some dominant alpha fucking
It likes to think, huh?
yeah. So let's move on to like IRL feelings and what you should do to like prevent that if you don't want an IRL relationship, because I know for me, long distance is like a no go for me. I've done it in the past. It's not something I like to do. So I try my very, very hardest to avoid putting myself in situations like that. And you know, sometimes it's hard because we're role playing with these people for like months and months, and we're role playing this relationship with them, and it's kind of hard not to catch IRL feelings. I mean, like, look at you, Vic. Like, you actually started dating Renegade and stuff like that after catching feelings. So, like, how was managing those feelings when it first started coming up, and like, how did you feel when it was all happening?
Uh, it was really awkward, I'll be honest. I was technically like, not to like throw shade, but I was with somebody at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Things weren't really panning out, so I wasn't happy. And it's not that I was looking for a way out, but like Renegade and I just kind of started talking and going through, um, just figuring out if we liked each other, like outside of just like friendship. And then, I made the decision to end my relationship. And then, uh, Renegade and I kind of met up a few times just to see if we could like cohabitate and if it was a good fit. And like off stream, Renegade is different, not in a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it is a little bit different than dealing with somebody online on a regular basis. But we basically just kind of we clicked, and it was really nice. And I did eventually move down to Fresno to be with him, and also just to kind of get away from the toxicity I was dealing with in my old relationship at the time. But like with him and I, like at first, he was in disbelief that I liked him at all. He was like, "There's no way in hell that like this." This is his words, not mine. He called me like a hot streamer chick.
Oh my god.
So
By the
he
way,
was
hot
like,
streamer chick. Ooh.
he was like, "There's no way that a chick like you is into me," and I was like, "You're kind of mistaken." And then from there, like we just kind of, um, I decided to go down and meet him in Fresno just to kind of see how things would pan out.
I'm gonna call you that
So
hot
he
streamer
was.
chick
And
now.
and I like to add that yes, you can develop feelings through RP. That is 100%
Absolutely.
a thing that can happen. And if you start to, you should probably message the person who plays the character that your character is with,
And let them
and
know.
and yes and no, but kind of talk about what it could become, or if it's just RP.
Yeah.
Because if one person catches feelings and the other is just like this is straight RP, it's gonna make things awkward.
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna put a strain on it.
See, that's the thing with like getting into like an RP relationship and stuff like that, and like setting boundaries. Like my whole entire a lot of like my stream and stuff like that is like been revolved around relationship RP because Lila started dating Brad and stuff like that. And like he's a really, really nice guy, like in and out of RP and stuff like that. And me and Brad have made it very, very clear. Brad is a straight man. I'm a gay man, so we kind of agreed that if we were going to continue this RP relationship, that we had to set a boundary that we wouldn't catch feelings for like one another. Obviously, Brad wouldn't catch feelings, so it was more for me not to catch feelings. So it's kind of good to set those boundaries because like if I was to like start developing feelings for Brad, and I'm not saying that I do or I don't. I'm saying if I was to start developing feelings for him, I know just from that like initial setup that like what he's comfortable with and what he's not comfortable with. And that's, you know, we're not supposed to catch feelings for each other, then I will definitely not catch feelings for each other. And if I do start catching feelings for him, then that's something I'm gonna have to deal with, and that's something that like I'm gonna have to work with because he's already told me what he's comfortable with, and I have to respect him as a person because I've invested so much time into that relationship. You know what I mean?
And that's a good word that you use. You use the word respect because relationships are always built on honesty and respect. And in
Mhm.
RP, it's the same way, same premise. You have to treat it as it's real, but also know that if it's just RP, it's not gonna be a real thing.
Yeah.
But you still have to portray it in a way that your character would actually handle it. So like the issue with me is I play basically just myself with slight differences. So when Ethan's in a relationship, the person who plays Ethan, Suresh, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
you know, and that's where
Like you look
you have
for
to
the
right.
same type of person that you would look for as like a person. That's what you mean, right? So like your type would be like reflected with Ethan's type.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's hard to not catch feelings, but there are preventative measures such as setting the boundary. Once you both know like this is just RP, you know, you can kind of detach your feelings from it. And it's hard because people do get attached to their characters. They do care about their characters' lives, and that can obviously make it a little harder to uh, distance yourself from.
Mhm.
But if one party just wants it to be just RP, you have to respect that or end it there because you don't think you can do it without catching feelings.
And there's nothing wrong with uh ending a relationship because you feel like you are catching feelings. Because it kind of like it protects you as it kind of like protects you and your emotions, you know what I mean? If you know that you can't handle this relationship and you know it's not going to go anywhere because of like whatever situation, like you have a boyfriend and or you know there's the distance and you know it's not going to work and yada yada yada, ending that relationship early, it looks like it sucks and it looks like it came out of nowhere, but at the end of the day it's you're taking care of like yourself and like your mental health, and that's like what's most important. You don't want to like RP is supposed to be fun, right? You don't want to be stressing out about um your feelings and your relationships between the person you're RPing a relationship with. You know what I mean? If it causes too much stress, then it's really not worth it at the end of the day. And that's kind of like my opinion on it. And you know, killing off your character might be a little traumatic, but like if you feel that's what you need to do, then you should do it. You know what I mean? In order to get yourself out of that situation. Or
Don't
like
attack me like that, Lola. I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry. But even like honestly, what I would love to be a part like listen, like I love the role play I have with Brad and stuff like that, and I love him as a person. I love hanging out with him. He's like one of my best friends. But like honestly, I would love to have like a divorce RP. I think it would be so funny. I think it would be like my telenovela moment where it's like all dramatic and shit like that, and I was like, "You fucking cheated on me!" Like, "Fuck you!" Well, you know what I mean? Like, it would be funny and it would be freaking content. It would be perfect. But like, my husband's like too perfect. Like, he would never cheat on me. He loves me too much. But like, you know what I mean?
I mean,
No, I see what you're saying. Like you and that's a lot of the things like that I'll have Ethan do. Like it's all just for RP. It's to promote fun. It's to have
Now we're gonna talk about let's talk about the rumors and when like you have like a community looking at you and you're like your relationship. Like I've dealt with it. Like I know a lot of people in the background were questioning, you know, like me and Brad's relationship. People would always ask him like, "Oh, why are you dating Lola? She's a fucking psycho. Like, do you RP like ERP with Lola? Like, blah 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 blah. Like, are you gay because you're dating Lola and Lola's played by a man and yada yada yada." And like people have accused me of specifically going after Brad or dating Brad because he was a head founder of the community that we roleplayed in. Like that was an actual rumor. And like if
I remember
anything,
that.
if anything, dating Brad literally crippled me from being able to do anything because if I came to him with a problem or if I wanted to like implement something or something like that or if I wanted to get an SOP looked at, he wouldn't be able to approve of it because of the relationship and it would be a biased source. So, me being in that relationship really cucked a lot of my role play because of his like authority and like he was a power figure, you know what I mean? Um
Right.
and I mean like Lola's also dated like a cop and stuff like that, but like she used that she liked said cop, but she also used him in order to paint this
Save her
facade.
ass.
Yeah, paint this facade that like she was like a perfect wife and that she couldn't hurt anyone and let alone she was in the background murdering people while dating the sheriff, but like we won't talk about that. Um so yeah, so going back to like people talking behind my back and assuming shit and just like jumping to conclusions, like Ethan, I know that you've struggled with this and like a past relationship that you RP'd with someone and we're not going to share their name because of obvious reasons. But like how did you deal with like the whole entire like Ethan's trying to ruin said and said person's relationship because said and said person's married?
So at first it was hard. I noticed that people were starting to alienate me
Mhm.
and kind of avoid me. I didn't know why at the time, but like looking back, like that was a heinous accusation that was not true at all. Me and said person both knew it was strictly RP. It was all in fun. Nothing was actually there. But people did alienate me and kind of avoid me in game and even in Discord. Like people would be talking and then I'd show up and I notice the conversation kind of die.
Mhm.
And it for a while it was like, do I not belong here? Why do
It's
these
kind of
people
like
not like
bullying,
me?
right?
To an extent,
It's,
yeah. But at the
yeah.
same time, I got in that relationship very early on to join in the community, so not a lot of people knew me.
Mhm.
And they hear this rumor and from someone who had been in the community longer than me, knows more people. Rumor spreads around. Eventually, people start opening up to me and find out that this isn't true at all. I know it's just RP. It's for fun. I have
See,
no intentions.
this wasn't even the first time this happened. Uh I know for a fact something along the lines happened to someone else. Again, like I'm not going to share like names because like that's someone's personal business. But I had a
Right.
friend and she was dating someone in game and they were very very happy, right? But people were constantly talking shit about the guy she was dating and spreading, I'm not sure, I'm going to say that they're rumors because I don't know if they're true or not, but spreading rumors that he does heinous things to women and he's a creep and yada yada yada. And she came to me and she's like, yeah, I ended the relationship because of the stuff that people were saying. And I remember telling her, I'm like, listen, like you're new to this city, if you enjoy hanging out with said person and like you're not noticing any red flags or anything like that, then like you should continue to date that person because these are all rumors. We don't know if they're true. We don't know like if any of this is factual and like people could just be slandering his name for the sake of slandering his name because they don't like him. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Right.
you should at least give him the chance. Give him the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard those rumors from about you or whatever, Ethan, and that didn't stop me from being your friend or start like talking to you because I know that like when I hang out with you, I enjoy your company. I enjoy talking to you. We have like a lot of the same sense of humor and stuff like that. So I was kind of like, this is kind of like a really big allegation. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, where's the proof? And no one would ever give me proof. And I was just like, okay, then it's not even worth looking at it. Because, like, if you don't have the proof or if this is not true, then people are just talking shit for the sake of talking shit. And I want to give this person the benefit of the doubt that they're not actually this shitty of a person to try to, like,
Right.
ruin a relationship or.
And I mean, now all the friends that I made from that previous community, they all know like that was all false, and
Yeah.
from talking to me and basically just hanging out with me and realizing like this guy isn't who everyone said he or this person said he was, because one person started the rumor, and I mean he was just a toxic guy in the community. Eventually got permabanned, and once that happened, like I noticed that people started opening up to me more and
Mm-hmm.
hanging out more with me and stuff, because they realized like, okay, if he's permabanned, maybe this isn't true about this guy, and we should give him another chance to show us who he really is.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
for a
think.
while, it was hard. There were multiple points where I thought like just leaving. No one really missed me. I can't deal with the bullying and
Yeah.
feeling alienated. Uh, but you gotta let people find out who you truly are if that is happening,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not your intention. Now, again, this is the internet. People do have, like, there are fucked up people here, and people will try to do that.
Oh,
But
100%. Oh, 100%. And like,
Mhm.
I know names, but
but if you're not, and you hear about this rumor, because I heard about this rumor from a good friend, and they told me, and they came to me. They were like, "Dude, I've been around you. Like, is this true?" And I should have said, "No, it's not. 100% not." Like, I sent the DMs of me and the person I was RPing with talking
yeah.
about the boundaries, which are huge in this. You gotta set these ground boundaries and know where each other stand.
Especially if you're dating someone in an who's in an IRL
Right.
relationship, especially like
Absolutely.
to the degree where they're married, because
Well, I
what
mean,
you
even just
do.
dating Lola is also a pretty big deal because like Renegade wasn't comfortable at first, like I said, with Vic dating David, and then like him and I had to sit down and talk about our boundaries, and then I had to go to David and set those boundaries, like and make sure that that was still okay with him. So I mean, married or not, it's still important, and that communication is absolutely essential, no matter the extent of the relationship.
But
And
I feel
and
like if there's a marriage, like there's, I don't want to say there's like more to lose, but like obviously like,
Absolutely.
you know, if this becomes like a big enough issue to the point where, let's say like a person falls in love with someone in RP and they're married IRL and they're like, maybe this isn't the person I want to be with, and you know the train starts moving and then like that person gets a
right.
divorce and then like a family is broken up and like even if they had like imagine if they had kids and stuff like that, like
And
it would be hard. And like it like Lola's a homewrecker, but like I don't want Lola to be an actual homewrecker like IRL, you know what I mean? Like um it's hard, and that's why it's really important to set boundaries. And I know we've said this like 1,000 times, but like, you know what I mean?
and that's another thing. I wanted to talk about was being in an IRL relationship and an RP relationship with two different people.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for you, Vic, you're with someone IRL, and
Mhm.
you also have an RP relationship. You also have to talk to your IRL partner and find out what they're comfortable with you doing, because RP relationships can cause problems in IRL relationships if you're
Yes.
doing something that your partner's not is uncomfortable with. That's going to cause problems and fights. So you kind of got to set those boundaries within your IRL relationship, and then go to the person you're in the RP relationship with and be like, hey, this is what me and him are comfortable with me doing in this relationship. Are you okay with that? And some people will say no, and that's when you realize like where are your priorities. Do you care more about your character's love life or your IRL love life? And most people will care about their IRL love life more. You know, there's more there. There's actually a physical and emotional connection.
Speaking
And that might
of,
be the time where you have to end that RP relationship because they can't respect your boundaries.
even still, like I know I've met two people on the crew. One of them came from Hawaii, but I know two people on the crew who I don't want to be like they respect the crap out of their partner or anything like that, because like you could be in an RP relationship and still respect your partner as much as anyone else, you know what I mean? But like they care so much about their partner that they don't feel comfortable RPing a relationship in game, and like they completely refuse it. And I've met this character and he's like, I don't really see the need for it, because why would I role play a relationship when I'm like happily married and I have a wife and like we have kids and stuff like that? And I'm like, you know what, I respect that, because I find with like role playing and stuff like that, it's all kind of we're all kind of living a fantasy of like, I don't want to say what we wish our lives could be, but I feel like that drives a lot of people's role play, is kind of like playing the perfect version of themselves. You know what I mean? And like Lola for me, she's a character who's a lot like me, but like I amp her up like fucking tenfold. Like Lola's pretty much me, where it's like I have no filter and I say like crazy and stupid shit, but like I would never go around fucking stabbing people IRL. I mean, I've been tempted to, but like I don't do that IRL. But like since it's a fake world and I can be whatever I want to be, I kind of like change myself in that sense. You know what I mean? And a lot of people role play like their sexual fantasies and what they wish they can do or what they can't do. Like I play a woman, but like I don't play a woman for the fact that I want to be a woman. You know what I mean? I made Lola based off of, so like when I made Lola, it was, I never had the thought that I was going to be role playing for 6 fucking months. I literally thought that I was just going to make this really, really quirky girl, like quirky character who runs around and like shit posts and like does stupid shit, and that's what a lot of my role play was in the beginning. But then like I started like developing like this character, and I really, really fell in love with her. And like Lola's whole entire background was she was supposed to be a mix of Kiki Chanel from No Pixel and a mix from Lola from Big Mouth, if you guys ever watched that
God, you have no fucking yes. I was actually just watching Big Mouth and I
show.
meant to like message you and be like, you remind me of yeah. Um, but definitely with uh the Kiki Chanel thing, you have no idea the amount of times that I've wanted to sit there and be like, you fucking Kiki Chanel wannabe.
You fucking
As
whore.
an insult. As an insult back when we were in the Twitter war days
Yeah.
as Vic and Lola. Yeah, I totally want to be like, whatever, you fucking Kiki Chanel ripoff.
Because so like I didn't I started playing, the reason why I started playing a woman was because like I would watch Milton Pike, which is the role player who plays Kiki Chanel, and I was like, fuck, like this guy's a straight ass male, like so comfortable in his sexuality, freaking military dude from Canada, like super buff with like a beard, and he isn't afraid to play like a woman. And I'm like, why the hell shouldn't I be like afraid to play a woman? Like this is all for fun, you know what I mean? So he really inspired me to like, gender bend in that sense and play a woman. And then Lola from Big Mouth, Lola Kroll, I stole, like, is a complete ripoff from Big Mouth. Lola was the character's name that I based my character off, and Kroll was the voice actor's last name I stole because his name is Nick Kroll. so I stole Lola Kroll from him, and that's who I based my character around. And I used to run around saying, I'm gonna cut your fucking face off. And there's like this one iconic scene from Big Mouth where she's like, we should like cut Devin's skin and wear her face or something like that. And I was like, oh, like blah blah blah. Like this is like fucking perfect. You know what I mean? And I've even had like recently, because of the new season of Big Mouth come out, I had my friend message me and he's like, I just watched Big Mouth or whatever. You play Lola very, very well. And I was like, oh thanks. Like I try. You know what I mean? But let's go back to the topic of roleplay relationship and stop jerking myself off here. Um,
Okay.
so I want to talk on the fact, and this is like a question for you, Ethan.
Okay.
Because like I hit on you so much, a lot in game, and a lot of the times
Yeah.
it's a meme because like everyone obviously knows like I'm happily getting married. My wedding date's set. I don't know if it's gonna happen. We'll see. Um, but how does it feel? And like don't be afraid to be like 100% honest with me and be like if it does make you uncomfortable, but does it make you uncomfortable knowing that I'm a man hitting on you? Or like does that like register in your mind when I play Lola, like the fact that like it's not Lola hitting on you, it's like Colin hitting on you, which is my IRL name by the way. Follow me on Instagram.
Well, first let's base it. Is it Colin hitting on me?
No. Well,
Okay.
maybe. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Well then, like, no, because I kind of took it as like that's just how Lola is. That's how you wanted Lola to be. Like, you want Lola to be a flirt and whatnot. So I never really took it as you hitting on me as a person. I took it as Lola hitting on Ethan, and it was all for RP and for fun. So it didn't make me uncomfortable. I RP that it makes Ethan uncomfortable because Ethan's known Lola for like I've known you for like 6 IRL months,
Yeah. Like fucking 6 8 years.
GTA, yeah, that's yeah. Uh, so Lola and Ethan have known each other for a long time. So I feel like their friendship has evolved to that point to where like they could kind of flirt around with each other and know nothing's there. It's all friend. Yeah. So it's not awkward, and the fact that you play a guy like or you're a guy playing a woman, that's how you want to RP. That's completely up to you. If you're comfortable with that, no one should really have an issue with it. And obviously, people will try to avoid you because they know that and whatnot,
Oh, trust
and they
me.
think it's weird. But I'm not a closed minded person. If you want to be a part of the LGBTQA
I just want to underline
community.
this right now, guys. I am not trans. I am very comfortable with my sexuality. I have no gender dysphoria. Like, I look at my dick and I'm like, yeah, that's my dick. Like, I am completely fine with who I am.
No, but I'm saying like, and
Yeah.
and I don't think what you're doing is offensive to people that are trans. It's you're doing it for fun. I don't think you're over the top with it, which could
I
be
don't
something
either.
that might offend someone
Yeah.
who is trans. Because when my little brother was getting into RP, he wanted to do something along the lines of that you're doing. He wanted to RP as a woman
Mm-hmm.
because he's a gay man. And I had him message a person that we all know through my Discord to talk to that person and find out like would it be offensive to them, and kind of find out like the guidelines to not misportray. Because I just felt like that would help him not offend someone. And
Well, I think like the thing that's like really important when playing like a trans, not like a trans character, because like Lola isn't a trans character.
right,
Like I
Lola's
don't
a
play
woman.
a trans character. I'm a woman. Like and a lot of things that I used to face like in the public server days where people would obviously hear my voice and like as like great as my girl voice is, like obviously you could still kind of tell as a man. I fool some people, but not all people. Like the fact that I can fool like
Oh, you fooled
Daniel
me.
and E and Ethan for a little while, like it's funny to me. But a lot of people can tell like that I'm a man, and automatically people would be like, she's tranny, she's like that's a man or whatever, that's a man in a girl's body, like don't talk
Right,
to her, and
and
that's
real quick,
offensive. And
Yeah, don't use the word tranny. Just say like transgender or
I'm just quoting what I
I know,
was
yeah,
called.
yeah.
So obviously I don't use that word, or I don't describe transgender people as
No,
that.
no, but I'm
That's what
saying
I was
like,
called.
yeah.
And I have the
I
18
was
plus
just,
thingy.
I was just, no, but I was just prefacing like that's not okay to say to someone, even
Hmm.
just in general. Like, just don't say that because it's offensive to a specific type of group of people.
Exactly. So it's like I would get called that like on the regular, especially when I first entered the city and no one knew who I was. And like the only way that like I myself could hurdle that barrier was it's either I avoid them at all cost or I make them fucking respect me. And the way that I'd make them fucking respect me would be, and this is where Lola got the whole entire like I'm gonna fucking cut you kind of thing, is I would literally run around stabbing people who would call me, offensive names and stuff like that. And they'd be like, oh, like, Lola, blah, 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 you're, the T word. And I'd pull out a switchblade and I'd be like, I'm sorry, what did you say? And then they would say it again. And then, like, I would slash their throats. And then they would never call me that again because, like, no one wants to be downed for, like, 10 minutes waiting for an EMS. But, that's kind of like the way like I had to deal with like that and stuff like that. Um, and like I've been bullied like even by like people in the community who were like pretty influential about playing a trans woman. And I'm not going to get into not trans woman, I'm not playing a trans woman, by playing Lola and stuff like that. And like I've had people call me like a confused gender bender and blah blah blah, and just like degraded to like what like you could like expect like someone on the internet would like go to the extent to like hurt someone's feelings. And like it doesn't bother me now because like I've like learned to cope with it, and thank God we're in a community now that's so LGBTQ friendly. Like everyone in the crew pretty much is either some form or way of like gay, trans, lesbian, and stuff like that. Like we have a large LGBT community in the crew. So like luckily I don't have to face that kind of issues anymore. Except for Jesus. Jesus said I sounded like a man one day and I got really triggered. But like that's another story.
Jesus is
But
kind of a shitlord.
I think that's an RP. I don't think the guy
That
that
was
plays.
that was
Yeah.
an RP, but like low key triggered the hell out of me, and like now I just don't like hanging out with Jesus. But that's like an RP
Right,
thing.
but I don't think the guy behind
Obviously
Jesus
not,
is
no, because like
right.
if he was, then he wouldn't like this would be like the worst community for him, and he probably would have been banned a long time ago.
Yeah.
But like but yeah, it's just like stuff like that can like affect people's RP and stuff like that. Like I play a woman for the sake of playing a woman. Like I'm a woman in game. And yeah, it kind of sucks because
I think if you're genuinely curious about someone's gender or pronouns, like there is somebody in the community who I know has multiple personality disorder, and their um, personalities, depending on who is like present, depends on their gender. So like if they aren't in like a certain mindset, then their pronouns are they and them. And like I asked them specifically, like what do you what do you consider yourself?
mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that's a justified thing. Like
Right.
don't be a shitlord to somebody who, if you're a dude and you want to play a girl character, if you're a girl and you want to play a boy character, that's fine. People have been doing that for years. I don't know why I guess it's because it's the internet, but like if you're, genuinely curious about it, just freaking send them a message. It's not hard. It takes 2 seconds. People appreciate that. They're not going to get offended. They're not going to get mad. Like it helps the situation.
Yeah, I've gotten like a few DMs where people are like, "So like, what are your pronouns?" or like, "What should I like
Address you as.
address you as?" And I'm like, "No, like, don't worry. Like, I'm a man, and I just play a woman for fun." And they're like, "Oh, okay, like, I'm so sorry for like asking." And I'm like, "No, no, no, like, don't be sorry for asking, because like it comes up a lot. You know what I mean?"
It gives that clarity of
Yeah.
like,
Like, thank you for respecting me enough to ask me. I think that's what's important.
right.
And not just like, I mean, like my friends, like you, Vic, like everyone literally calls me she and calls me Lola at this point. Like for me, like
The amount of times I call you girl.
like yeah, so it's like it doesn't matter to me. Like I've been called ma'am. Someone called me ma'am once. I think it was
I
Athena.
called you
Or
ma'am.
was you? Yeah, you called me
It was
ma'am.
me.
I'm like,
I'm sorry.
what? Like that's so like. First off, I was more offended that you called me ma'am because that insinuates that I'm old. So how dare you? But I think this
Love
was
you.
a good podcast. I think we talked. You know, we went off the trails a little bit, but I think we kind of hit all the points in relationship RP. Do you guys think we missed anything?
I want to talk a little bit more in depth about boundaries and
Okay.
when you should have that conversation. Obviously, I don't think it should happen at the start of the relationship because that can seem very
Forward.
right, and it can scare people.
Mm-hmm.
But once you both start to get comfortable within your RP, you know, maybe a week or two IRL in it, because you know that's a decent amount of time, week or two. You have that conversation, or you kind of hinted you want to have a conversation out of character to kind of figure out what's happening with the RP and where it lands on the spectrum of, you know, this is just RP, or you know, this is RP and we're just friends, or this could become something IRL.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
definitely.
but at some point, once you're both comfortable with talking about that, you should definitely try and have that sit down conversation, even if it's in DMs, voice call, and find out where the boundaries are, what they're comfortable with, in terms of ERP, you know, if they're with someone and how their, you know, partner feels about this, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, this
But
could also apply to like IRL because like
right, but
um
that's the thing. In an RP relationship, you have to treat it as it is a real relationship
mhm.
because,
It
in granted,
is
there
in a
might not
sense
be
it is.
feelings there. Right, and feelings might not be there. It might just be RP, but you still have to treat it realistic and, you know, kind of find out what the person also wants in the relationship in RP sense. You know,
Like
does the person
sorry,
does the
but
person want this relationship to last? Is this just a fling? You know, what would it be?
yeah, exactly. And like in the sense where it's like communication is very key, especially when you're setting up boundaries. Like when I first started dating Brad and stuff like that in game, I think like I waited like about a few dates or whatever, and I sent him a message and I'm like, hey, you know, if anything starts to bother you or bug you that I'm doing, or this isn't like the type of RP you wanted to get into, I fully told him, I'm like, you can leave whenever you want. You have the right to just sit me down and be like, hey, like, this is not working out. And like, I just want to end it. Like, how do you want to end it? Like, and still to this day, like, I will message him and I'll be like, hey, and like, our characters are literally getting married, like, what, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now? And I still tell him, I'm like, hey, like, if you want to back out and if you don't want to be in a relationship anymore, let me know because sure it kind of sucks that like, you know, the 4 months that we've been RPing together would kind of just end, but like I want to, you know, make sure you're comfortable.
And comfort is key for both parties. You want to make sure both parties are
Absolutely.
comfortable with what's happening. What? Oh,
Sorry, what?
is that your mom?
Yeah, wait, you guys heard that still?
Yeah,
Yep.
All of it.
Yep.
yeah.
How? What
Debit
The
cards on the
the
credit
table.
card. Yep,
I
credit card on the
muted.
table.
I muted my mic. Okay,
You didn't.
something I did. I did, sweetie. I don't know what happened. Oh, okay, no, you guys heard that. Oh my god, I forgot I didn't mute Discord. Ah.
Lol.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I have to go bring my debit card to my sister at work. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. Continue. Oh, my bad, guys. My bad. Where were we? Hello. Don't just stop talking now.
Best podcast ever.
That's so professional. Professionalism.
Uh, we were at the point of like comfort in an RP relationship.
Right.
Now communication is key.
Communication is key. So we kind of hit the 15-minute mark. I think this would be a good place to end. With everything. It did through Vix. Yep. Luckily, we're not using Vix as a freaking for the channel.
Oh, okay.
What?
Yeah, because I downloaded it from my
Oh,
iPod.
yeah.
So, it won't come up. So you guys wouldn't hear my mom. But all right, I think this is a good place to end. Thank you everyone who viewed. Thank you everyone who is watching currently on YouTube. We're gonna keep posting these every single week. Thank you, Ethan, for freaking being our first guest. How was it? Did you like it?
Thank you for having. It was fun. It was fun. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, hey, good. So yeah,
I'll
ERP.
definitely come back when the topic is having a crazy best friend.
Okay. I think there'll be like 20 people, and that's all my friends, everyone on my Discord. Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna end it here. Thank you, Vic, for being super cute and like a great co-host. I love you, my dumb.
You're welcome. What the fuck?
I love you. Bye, guys. Goodbye. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Vic. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Oh,
There we
you
go.
dumb bitch.